Hello, world. Welcome to Rex Arthur TV. This is the Rex Arthur Show, where we discuss LGBTQ issues with an LGBTQ approach and an LGBTQ perspective in an LGBTQ plus planet, where all of us belong to one or two letters in the 10-letter sexual alphabet, LGBTQIAAP. And today we are going on to discuss um, something that I was thinking about, and so it's going to be in the Rivers of Thought Lava of Fikir playlist. And I was thinking about the Renaissance and Enlightenment and the time we are in as a world when it comes to knowledge. Of course, in fact, we'll also put this in the Aquarian playlist, because you've got to understand that the world has entered a phase of increased knowledge, as the Bible used to say. It said in the book of Daniel that that in the last days the world will have increase of knowledge, and then that is in the Bible times. But naturally, human beings increase in knowledge. This is what we discussed when we were doing the other videos and talking about time. And everything that exists, everything has time. Everything. That includes the your human body. You're a clock. This wall is a clock. The phone we are using is a clock, and everything is timed and has time, and time is life. This wall will die the moment it's demolished. Yes, it will die. Even if it's in 10,000 years to come, there will be a day it will be demolished. Remember when ISIS was ravaging Syria, they destroyed very many ancient buildings that UNESCO cries that they fell down because of that. ISIS destroyed very old relics, and their day to die was that day. Sad enough. And then you have countries that have earthquakes, and the old buildings collapse. Like Italy is very prone to earthquakes, and so one day there'll be a very strong earthquake that will bring down the old buildings. It's a fact. Any city that has experienced earthquakes is prone to experiencing earthquakes again. That's what you need to know. Even Washington DC, there was an earthquake that took place there one time. That's a sign that it can happen again. But any city that has never had an earthquake, it's okay. But earthquakes happen all over the world. Even today there's an earthquake. It's just that they are not the magnitude is not that great. But the world is always shaking. The earth is living. An earthquake is a sign that the earth is living. It's like your human body. You walk and then you feel things going. No. Yes, the body is working. It's living. It's a component of life. And so the earth is also a living entity. And that's why it has earthquakes. And who knows, the other planets also have earthquakes. They also go through, they have the earthquakes that they go through. And not earthquakes, in fact. Now you'll call them Mars quake, when Mars is quaking. And then you'd call the Venus quake, when Venus is quaking. But I think planets that have water tend to have more earthquakes. It's like the human body. Do you know why you feel like you belch and then you hear a noise on the stomach? and you hear funny sounds in the human body, it's because of water. There's a lot of mix of water and the gases and acids. The chemical makeup of the human body is so diverse that it creates very many diverse reactions. And even the earth as a planet is a planet that has very many diverse chemicals whose interaction affects the earth. You know, that's why earthquakes happen, because in the earth we have water, we have gases, we have oil, we have metals, you know, gold, and all of those things, diamond, everything is in the earth. And this is why we always told the astronauts to try and find out if other planets have minerals. Of course, sadly, the Mars rover crashed, I think last week. So, and it took 14 years to get to Mars. So it is sad news. Meaning now, if they are to start again, it's going to take another 25 years to get to Mars. And so that's sad news for cosmologists like us. Because it landed very well, it would now do the experiment on Mars and collect soil and collect minerals and collect and look for everything, then bring them back to Earth. You know, wouldn't it have been lovely that we can hold Martian soil? Yeah, if I was that rover, the rover would collect a big chunk of soil. You know, like how it used to say Israel used to. Israel actually imports soil. Yeah, it buys soil. When it knows soil is very good, they import it. And they're clever. That's a good way of understanding. Soil is also valuable. There is nothing that is useless in this world. Nothing. Not even feces. Can you imagine feces? Fecal matter is energy. The reason why there is nothing useless, everything that is material or exists is energy. It works. You see, it works, and work is energy. Even when you die, you are an asset to the earth, because your body is going to decompose to become humus. Oil, fossil oil that you use in your car, the petrol, it is the human bones that have been crushed for years, animal bones that have been crushed for years. So there is nothing useless. Everything can be used, even your dead phone. You see, when a phone has these people throw away their phones, laptops, you can take them back to the factory and they are recycled again into something else, because the material used to make that phone can be crushed and smelted into something else and make a chair, make a plate. Yeah, so there's nothing useless. Nothing. Even the plastics that are polluting the ocean, they're supposed to get them and recycle them. Wait, it's going to be big business. There's a rich man who has already started collecting the plastics of the earth. That man is going to make money again, because when he collects all the plastics, he will take them to recycling plants and they will buy from him those plastics. So you see, he's so clever. So that's what we want to discuss. We want to discuss the power of daily renaissance. Every day, purpose to know something new, to know something else. You know, and knowledge is sex. That's why I support polyamory. You know, I support polyamory. I support watching pornography, because the reason why you watch pornography, you watch a new thing. You watch a new style. You watch new people. So it gives you new ideas. Sorry, I know people like monogamy, but even in monogamy is, it has its advantages, you know. I was thinking to myself that countries that have high HIV rate tend to have a lot of polyamorous relationships. People are having sex with everybody. But when you look at the Western society, they are very monogamous, and so that means the chances of spreading diseases is very minimal in such a situation, because you are only having sex with one person. So whether that if that person is negative or doesn't have an STD, and that's the only person you sleep with, you will not have an STD, because that's the only person you sleep with, and that person also doesn't walk around. But in our countries, in African countries, third world countries, there's a lot of freedom in sexual proclivities. I mean, sexual proclivities. So people tend to, because of that, you sleep with one person who is negative, then the other one is not negative, then the other one is positive, then the other one is, so you have like 6 partners, and some are negative, some are not. So the negative ones then in the end will also become positive. So that's what happens, and that's the problem of polyamory. And but the good thing is that medication is helping polyamory survive, because if you are now taking the negative persons, and I always say this, if you're negative, take PrEP. Yes, take PrEP, because if you are not, and you cannot be negative and polyamorous and you're not on PrEP, danger. Just know you're going to be positive. Yes, so if you are negative, take PrEP, continue in your polyamory. And if you're positive, take your medication. Yes, you can still continue in polyamory. It doesn't mean it's wrong to be polyamorous, but take your medication so that you can be undetectable. Yes, that's what's happening to the whole HIV regime. It's that HIV is already gone because of PrEP. Yes, it's gone, because most people who are on PrEP and are sleeping with positive persons do not have the virus. So PrEP is a success, and PrEP is a building block to the vaccine that is coming soon. And when the vaccine comes, that is now the complete end of HIV, because once you're vaccinated, you will not get the virus, at least the strain that you have been vaccinated against. I am hoping they have an omnibus vaccine, meaning it's a vaccine that covers all the strains of HIV, so that it will not continue. Nobody will get it once they're vaccinated. But as I've told you, even leave alone the vaccine, there is the stem cell medication that now kills the virus easily. And then you also have what do you call it? There's also stem cell reproduction, whereby children who are born through IVF or children who are born through stem cell reproduction, they are now being they are created with cells that are HIV resistant. So even if they're exposed to the virus, they will not get it, because their body is born, it's wired. The problem why HIV is an issue in the world is because we do not have cells that can fight it. All the sicknesses of the world, majority of them, we have the cells to fight it, but HIV we don't have. So even herpes, any incurable virus, it's because we don't have the cells to fight it. And we only fight it when we do what? When we take when we have the cells in us. So that's why stem cell science is helping fight HIV, because now you can inject yourself with cells that fight HIV. Yes, because when you inject them, they will replicate, and they will, when you meet the virus, those cells will fight the virus. So it is that our human body was not born to be HIV resistant. But now, thanks to the Chinese doctor who created those girls, yes, he created them. They were not born through normal sexual coitus. They were born through stem cell reproduction. So when he did that, he created two girls who are HIV resistant, and you'll see they won't get HIV. It's as simple as that. So stem cell science has saved everything, and then also, as I told you, the vaccine is going to save everything. So what I was just trying to show you is how polyamory is good. For one thing, it freshens your sex life because you sleep with different people and you learn a lot from the different people. A lot of learning. Monogamous people are more boring because they only know one person. So they end up only doing one style. They are not very enthusiastic about life or sex. But polyamorous people are very enthusiastic about sex, very ongoing. I'm a polyamorous person. I love being with many men, being gay, and I understand the situation. That's why you see I talk about HIV very in a very strong way. Yes, I'm not ashamed. It's good to talk about the HIV science. It affects every person who is having sex. That's why the LGBT community, especially gay men and bisexual men, are key populations, and including sex workers, be they straight or gay. So it's good. So we are very happy with what's happening in the HIV science world. Okay, now, so that new knowledge comes because you meet new things. So you'll always have a daily renaissance when you read something new. And what I mean by new, something that you've not read before. Go and read it. Just try and touch it and take time and read it. Like I'm reading I've read a lot. So now for those people who have read a lot, you can still have a renaissance. A renaissance, how do you have the renaissance? Go back and read those people again. You'll have a fresh understanding. Because when I read these guys 10 years ago, I didn't have the understanding I now have today about life. So that's why I'm going back again to Friedrich Nietzsche. And Friedrich Nietzsche is a very great philosopher who said God is dead, and I liked that assertion, and I saw it even in a book I read, a play, very lovely play. I love it, The Crucible, that was talking about the witch hunts in Salem. And I remember Proctor, the Proctor said God is dead because Abigail accused him of witchcraft. And it was not that he was not a witch. He was just an independent man. He never liked following the rules. So Abigail was picking people she didn't like in the community. And one of them was Proctor and his wife. And so when Proctor was arrested, he just declared God is dead. Because he couldn't understand how is it that he was in witchcraft. He couldn't. First of all, he was very atheist minded from the story. He was trying to understand Christianity. He was a Christian, but he was not happy with how the church, Salem was a theocracy. America was a theocracy. In fact, people need to understand something about America. America is a bipolar because there was a theocratic wing. These were communities that wanted to be ruled by the Bible. And they were in Boston, Salem, parts of Virginia. Actually, Virginia was very secular. Then you have the deists. These ones were influenced by French philosophy, and they were very secular, or they were very pantheist. They believed, they allowed every religion. You see, Thomas Jefferson, he had a Quran. Yes, and he read it. And he was a free man, And most of them Freemasons, they were the ones who built America. So America has been divided forever between secularists and theists. And not theists, because the secularists were also theists. They were deists, meaning they believed God, but they didn't think it was God was you can't box God in a religion. That's what a deist is. He says God can exist. God exists, but he's not boxed into a religion. You see, religions, they box God. They put God is a Christian God. God is a Muslim God. God is and that's not the truth. God is God. It's just is God. We don't, no one can even explain. It's just God. And so, and religions are just expressions, their understanding of whom they think God is. So some religions believe God, that's why some religions believe God is a woman. And you can't attack them. Yes. Others believe God is an hermaphrodite. Like I told you, Kenneth Copeland is a Christian, but he says God is an hermaphrodite. It's even in the Bible, because God said the image of God. God created man in his image, and the image is male and female. So contrary to what people believe that God is male, God is also female. He has a male and female image. And I prefer Copeland's explanation, because we are all intersex. I mean hormonally. We all have male and female parts. Yes, we have male hormones and female hormones. I have my female hormones, even though I'm a man. And that's what you need to understand about. So some people, they would view God as male. That even though he created a woman, it's not that, it doesn't mean he also has a woman. No, he's a man who happened to create both. So you see, everybody has their explanation. And then when you have these explanations, God does not come and tell you which one is right. So, you see? So you can't say this person is wrong and I'm right, because the person you're talking about has not even come to tell you the truth. So you just let people believe what they believe. So that's what happened in America. The deists were very free thinkers, and they allowed everything. That's why Thomas Jefferson, much as he was a Christian stroke Freemason, he had a Quran. Yeah, he had a Quran. But the Pilgrims and the Puritans, especially the Puritans, which is where Proctor and the Salem witch hunts happened, they, even you see it's called Salem, from Jerusalem, Salem, peace. And there are very many towns in America that carry Bible names. Bethesda, all of these. And then look, America is a very beautiful country, very bipolar. You have Bethesda, and then you have Salem, and then you have Bethany. Then the deists and the Freemasons went and called places Memphis, which is Egypt, and Atlanta after Atlantis, the secret, the underground, the water empire, the people who lived underwater, the Atlantis, Atlanta. You see, so these guys were competing with each other. The Christians were competing with the deists, who believe in all religions. They accept all religions. That's why the deists also allowed the Native Americans to keep their names. Tennessee, all of these cities in Alabama is a Red Indian tongue. It's a Latin, not Latin. It's a Red Indian. Native American. That's what I was looking for. Native American tongue. Alabama, Tallahassee. Beautiful names. When you read those names, my God, the meaning. Actually, I love Red Indians. They are thoroughly mystical. Thoroughly mystical. Unbelievable. I won't forget when there was the shooting in Aurora, or where, one of the two, or where Gabriel Giffords was shot. And Obama had a ceremony, and the ceremony they invited the Native Americans, and I said, "Wow, this was so beautiful." You know, because they felt, I think the advisor to Obama at that time said, these shootings are happening because we may be failing the Native Americans. They should be part of the country. And so they just allowed them to have a bit of the service. And it was beautiful. The flute was playing, and the talk of the land and the mysticism in all of that. So it's a very beautiful belief. But if we do that in Salem, the time of the witch hunts, my God, you'll be arrested. You'll be called a witch. So that's what you need to know. The Puritan Americans, the Puritan Christians, they were very aggressive Christians, very fundamentalist. They ran away from England, first of all, because King James was gay. Yes. So they were so angry that they can be a gay king, and then he even had the audacity to write a Bible. They just said, no, we have had enough of England. And so they went to America, and they decided to build their city of God. And when they did that, that's why they called the place Salem. I'm forgetting the other names in Eastern America. Most of them were on eastern side, the eastern seaboard. And then you had New York is different. It wasn't called by the Christians. New York was very business minded, so they were not bothered with this religion. It's Salem, Boston. They were so focused on church. So, and this is the reason why Native Americans were killed. It's because they were weird. They were queer. In the spirit, they were spiritually queer. And the Puritans were running away from a queer king. And then when they met the queer tribe, the Red Indians, they started shooting them and they killed them. Even you see, Thanksgiving, it's a holiday that after the massacres, they just said it's enough. We are killing each other for nothing. Let's just be friends. And then that's when they invited Native Americans to the table and they ate together. So before that, Christians killed. Yes, we understand that Christians, they killed Native Americans because they didn't know what they were. They were seeing people doing strange rituals and living in teepees and wearing skins and going to the rivers and flutes, and they had arrows. So when they saw the bow and arrows, the Christians said, "Hey, at this point, we just put the Bible aside. Take your gun." And they shot people. And they exterminated Native Americans in the name of Christ because they were scared. They didn't know these guys. And even smallpox came from Europe. It is not even an American disease. It is from Europe. It's European. And it came, and not only did it finish the Christians, the Pilgrims, and the Puritans, it also finished Native Americans. So it's very good. Read the history of America. It's beautiful because it shows you how diversity has been a problem even in the early setup of America. Because America has always been there. Native Americans have been there. They are actually Asians. Yes, they are Asians who came from South America and went to dwell in America. They also are not indigenously from there. Eskimos, they are also related to them. All of those are Asians from China. All China, parts of India. They came to South America and then they went to North America. That's the genetics. We'll read the genetics. We'll do the genetics one day. Okay, so you see, that's the power of new knowledge. Daily read something new. Daily know something new. And I want us to go through something here about the Renaissance. Then we'll be done with the video. Now, this is the Renaissance, and the Renaissance is a period in European history covering the span between the 14th and 17th centuries and marking the transition. That's the most important word in this definition. Transition from the Middle Ages to modernity. Transition. What are we telling you today? We are in a transition. We are transiting from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. And look at the transition, how long it took. 3 centuries. That is 400 years of transiting. So, guys, if you think because we are going to the Aquarian age, we are going to reach there in the next 10 years, I'm sorry, we are not going to reach there in the next 10 years. A transition roughly takes 500 years. So, the 19th century is the beginning. When we entered the Aquarian age, we are still in the transit period. That's why when you go, I was seeing a video of someone, she's regretting why she went back to Nigeria. And I told her, sorry, I know you're seeing a lot of chaos there, but guess what? It is transitional chaos. Nigeria is going to get better, but with time. Every country in the world is going to get better. Yes, it is going to get better. I know it doesn't make sense. You'll even die before your country gets better. Yes, that's the saddest reality. The saddest reality. You will even die before your country gets better. But it is getting better. Now, why is it going to take time? Because of very many reasons. Some things will take little time to change. This is what you need to understand. There are some areas we have entered the Aquarian age already. Technology. We are already in the Aquarian age. In the Aquarian age, what is an age? Age means time. Age means time. A period in time. Now, and that's a period in life. Now, time and life have sectors. Like in your life, you have your economic life, you have your political life, you have your social life, you have your academic life, you have different sectors of life, areas of life, spheres of life. Now, in some spheres, you can develop very fast, and in other spheres, you can't. Now, there is one sphere we are developing very fast, the technological sphere of life, or the technological sphere of time. We have smartphones. Imagine within 100 years, the beginning of this century, the 1900, the 20th century, nobody had a mobile phone. All phones were wires, cable. Nobody knew. But by the end of the 20th century, half of the world had a mobile phone. Can you imagine? And not only mobile phones, computers. Can you see? Just within a short time, in 100 years, the world advanced in technology. So the technological sphere, we have entered the Aquarian age properly. We have entered the Aquarian age properly. But in certain spheres, we have not entered the Aquarian age properly. We are still in transition. And one of them is politics. Politics is a very hard thing to transform because people have different views about politics. Like, we're going to do another video when we talk about Black History Month. And there was a friend of mine, who posted on Facebook that the black community, that he asked a question, and it was a poll. And the question was whether the blacks have been oppressed because have been in systematic oppression, or it is that blacks are what do you call it, or that it's blacks that are, what do you call it, the blacks are not under systematic oppression, and it's that blacks are the ones who feel bad about themselves. And I told my friends on Facebook that no, blacks are in systematic oppression because the system, especially in America where the blacks live, the system they live in is it was crafted by white nationalists. That's what you need to understand. If you are in a system that is not nationalistic, you will not be oppressed. It's as simple as that. And even it happens to whites who go to a system that is nationalistic. Now, when a system is nationalistic, what does that mean? It means that the nation that's in charge of that system only values people who are part of the nation. If you're not part of the nation, the system doesn't value you. So that's why when blacks went to America, they were part of a system that does not see blacks as humans. They were in a white system. So when you're in a white system and you're a black person, you will be oppressed. It's as simple as that. You will not get, because if you're white, you will get what you want. Because you're in a white system. It's like having cows and goats. Cows, if you're a farmer of cows only, and the goats come to your cow pen, you love the goats. As simple as that. Because you are a farmer of only cows. You have time to have a livestock farmer and have goats and cows and chicken and pigs. You will not fear. You will not complain. You will not remove the pigs from the farm because you're a livestock farmer. So that's the same with a system. If your system is multicultural, then no culture will be oppressed. But if your system is monocultural, then the cultures that are not part of that system will be oppressed. It's as simple as that. And this is what happened in America. And that's what I told my friend, that to me, black people were oppressed in America for one thing. They were in a system that did not recognize them as human beings. It's as simple as that. And as the only way to solve that, it's like how Obama did it. He did it very well, is to diversify the system. But even diversification is not enough. You have to build a system. Build a system that recognizes everybody. Of course, the American Constitution recognizes everybody, but it is, and that's the freedom. That's why I love the deists, because the deists believed everybody is equal. They came from the French philosophy of the French Revolution that took place after the American Revolution. Can you imagine? The knowledge of the French philosophers influenced America to fight England and gave America freedom before the French, who gave the knowledge that they are being oppressed by the monarchists. Because France, why, as we are doing this article of the Renaissance, you're going to see what happened. It is because of this period of the Renaissance that there were revolutions. Now, so we have read that at Renaissance, the Renaissance was a period, is a transition period. And then we have also said that the reason why we are in the transition to the Aquarian age is because some spheres of life are still in the Piscean age. I told you, technologically we are in the Aquarian age and we are getting better and better. But there are some areas we are not yet in the Aquarian age, as I told you about that Nigerian woman who went to Nigeria and she has regretted. It's because Nigeria as a country is still in the Piscean age. And some countries will take time to go to the Aquarian age. Countries like Finland, Denmark, they are already in the Aquarian age, because when you look at their system, life is, everybody is okay. They have already solved their economic problems. There is nobody poor at all in Finland. I was even saying in the other video I posted, have you ever heard of a strike in Finland? Never. You've not heard of a strike in Finland. You've not heard of a strike in Denmark. Reason? They solved that problem. They've solved economics. But for countries that are not yet in the Aquarian age of thinking, they still have a lot of work to do to solve their problems. So most of the third world, that's why the third world is called the third world. It's not a racist term. It's a term of where are you in the economic development. So I am telling people to be optimistic. Africa will get there, because it's all a matter of time. Even if you die before Africa gets there, be grateful that you realize that you know what time it is in one part of the world you're in. So the intellectual basis of Renaissance was its version of humanism, derived from the concept of Roman humanitas and the discovery of classical Greek philosophy, such as that of Protagoras, who said that man is a measure of all things. This new thinking, and this is what I want us to dwell on, this new thinking became manifest in art, architecture, politics, science, and literature. So why I'm saying calling for a daily renaissance in your life is that you will get new thinking, new thoughts in art, new thoughts in architecture, new thoughts in politics, new thoughts in science, and new thoughts in literature. This is a fact. Even in music, the problem we have with musicians is we love familiarity. We love staying where we are. We get used to a music sound. That's why genres are conservative structures. Even movies, the genres in movies are conservative structures. Like a horror film will forever have scary music, blood dripping, people screaming. That's a horror film. So these genres are just genetics. It's like a tribe. The Maori tribe are like this. The Acholi tribe are like this. All of these, the Mohicans in America, they are like this. So a horror movie has its characters. A comedy has its characters. An action-packed movie has its characters, its features. So the moment you get a genre, it means it's established. Jazz is a tribe. Rock and roll is a tribe. Classical music is a tribe. So all of these are multicultural things, and we are supposed to create new stuff. That's why look at today's Oscars, the Oscars that are passed yesterday. LGBTQ movies did very well. Reason? It is a new genre. Yes, a new genre, because when you have LGBTQ movies, you're having new themes. New themes in movies. So you have the theme of homophobia. You have the theme of transparency in relationships, because some people are not transparent about their sexuality. You have the theme of what other theme do you have? You have the theme of women power, because people will not be able to understand, like the movie The Favourite, which has won an Oscar, is about the lesbian queen of England, Queen Anne. And there are many themes there. a woman in power who happens to be a lesbian. So you see that those are the new themes being created, and people like new things. And so the movie industry values new things, and the architecture also values new things. Politics values new things. Science, oh my god, that is the heart of newness. And literature. So let us have a daily renaissance to create new things, because the Oscars and the Grammys and all of these award guys, they will create new award categories. Yes, like the LGBTQ, very soon they're going to honor LGBTQ actors. It will be a category on its own. And then, as I've told you, we can create new genres, reality shows. I mean, how many reality TV shows have won Oscars? Practically none. I know why. It's because they are not in the academy. Oscars only are given to people who are part of the academy. And if you're not part of the academy, that you may not get nominated. Even Netflix movies have tried. There are some which have been nominated. It's because of the viewership and because they are so popular. But even the issue of Netflix is going to be an issue of debate for the academy. They can now think of awarding people who are outside the academy but have done very good movie work, and therefore when they win the awards or are nominated, can be inducted to the academy. So new things are creating new things and new groups to be awarded. And that's why we are talking about Renaissance today. So early examples were the development of perspective in oil painting and recycled knowledge of how to make concrete. So you see, the Renaissance brought new ideas and new ways of doing things. Do you know painting has been in the world 10,000 years ago? Over 10,000 years ago, South Africa, the caves, 10,000 years ago, they found the old rock paintings in the caves. So what does this tell you? Human beings have been painting for thousands of years. But what changes is the material. So in the Renaissance period, oil painting was introduced. And oil painting transformed paintings, because even paintings became more real. And then they have said here, the recycled knowledge of how to make concrete. Now, this is a very beautiful term Wikipedia has used. Recycled knowledge. So, some things, what you need to know in daily renaissance, as I was telling you what is happening to myself, I can read a book again. Yes, even if it's the Bible, again. And I will get a new idea. And that's what you call recycled knowledge. Because when I read the Bible 20 years ago, I had the knowledge I had that time could have been little to the knowledge I have right now. Now I have more knowledge. And so when I read it again, I will get a new idea, because I'm reading something with more knowledge, with new knowledge. And this is a fact of life. As you progress in time, you get more new knowledge, and then the new knowledge helps you to create something new, even if you read an old thing. So when you read old books, that's why you have a lot of revisionists in history, people revising what happened in history. It's because they get new knowledge about something, and then they go back to the old knowledge, and then that mix of the new and the old knowledge creates a new perspective and a new opinion. That's what happens to very many revisionists. As I told you last time, the problem of humanity is that the old knowledge did not have the structures new knowledge has today. Like when you read a book like the Bible again, Nobody knew the psychological status of those people. Some of them had schizophrenia. Yes. And that's what people need to understand. Some of these people had schizophrenia. What was Moses' sickness? Moses had a mental disorder. All of these people had mental disorders. And when you have that understanding, because mental disorders did not start when you were born, they started with humanity hundreds, thousands of years ago. I mean, look at animals. How many animals have schizophrenia? You see, there is a lot to study, to know. Yes, there are animals that go berserk. And they are mad dogs. How do those dogs become mad? You see? So that's what people need to understand. That the fact that humans, dogs have existed for thousands of years means that the problems that bedevil humans and dogs have existed also for thousands of years. It is just that at the time humans started recording stuff, they didn't have that knowledge. Like schizophrenia, it's a new term, but it's not a new disease. It has been in the world for thousands of years. It's just that people didn't know it existed. But thanks to the X-rays and thanks to magnetic resonance imaging, people now are able to know who has a mental disorder. So this is the power of new knowledge and the power of old knowledge. Because when you have new knowledge, go back and read the old knowledge, you will create something new. And this is what happened in the Renaissance, as we've read here. The recycled knowledge of how to make concrete helped them create new concrete. Then they are going on to say, although the invention of metal movable type sped the dissemination of ideas from the later century, the changes of the Renaissance were not uniformly experienced across Europe. The very first traces appeared in Italy as early as the 13th century in the writings of Dante and paintings of Giotto. Yes, I agree with this. Even that's why Leonardo da Vinci was a brilliant man, because Italy was the first country to enter the Renaissance. And this is what I'm trying to tell you, that we're in the Aquarian age. We are transiting from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. But some countries are still behind. They are still in Pisces. Other countries have entered Aquarius. Like the Scandinavian countries, forget, they are not in Pisces at all. Even I think I was seeing, was it Finland or Norway? One of the two. They have banned televangelists. If you're a televangelist, you can't go to that country. Though I don't agree with them, because I believe humans should be allowed to travel anywhere. And if a human travels to another country and commits a crime there, that's when you arrest him. That's what I prefer. I don't think you should ban somebody from traveling to the country because of what you know about him. That's wrong, because that what he has done has happened in his country, not in your country. But of course, that's another thing. It's a legal challenge, because of technology. What you say in this country, like what I'm saying in my country now, I'm saying it in all countries. You see? So that's the challenge technology has brought to us. So even if I travel to Sweden and I've said something that Sweden doesn't like, Sweden will say, we can't allow you to come because you said this. Then I'll tell them, but I said it in South Africa. And they said, no. When you said it in South Africa and you posted it on YouTube or Facebook, you posted it all over the world. And that's the reality of the internet. Whatever you post, you have posted in every country of the world. Because any country that has access to your site has access to you. So that could be the reason why Finland has banned those televangelists, because they know the problems they are causing for them. And it doesn't even make sense, because even if you ban them, the your Finnish people are still listening to those televangelists. That's why I'm not supporting banning, because too late. Your people are already listening to them. Even if you ban them from coming to the country, your people, your what is your goal? Why are you not letting them come? Because if your goal is to stop people listening to televangelists, then switch off the part of the internet and selectively block out the televangelists. But because you're a country that respects freedom of information, then it becomes very hard to switch off the televangelists. But what you do is ban them from coming to the country. So I think that's what Finland has done. But me being a liberal, I don't support that. But anyway, I was just trying to show you the fact that this, trying to validate this sentence in the article, that although the changes of the changes of the Renaissance were not uniformly experienced across Europe, and that's the same to us in the world. The changes of the transition, or the changes of the Aquarian age, are not uniformly experienced across the world. Some countries are so Aquarian it hurts, like Finland is too Aquarian. It hurts. And other countries are too Piscean. They are not even thinking. Mostly the Islamic world is still in Pisces because they value their religion more than anything. So, if as long as you value your religion more than anything, you will be forever in the Piscean age. But as I've told you, we are all living the Piscean age because when you go to the Islamic countries, people are using smartphones. The moment you use a smartphone, you're an Aquarian. You're in the Aquarian age. Yes. People who don't have smartphones, like when I meet my friends around and I tell them, "Do you have a smartphone?" That is one of my questions these days. And when they tell me they don't, then I tell them, "No, that's wrong. You need a smartphone because that's where the world is. How are you making money? How are you looking for opportunities when you don't have a smartphone?" So that's what I tell people these days. It's because now it's a need. It's no longer a luxury. It's no longer a luxury. People need a smartphone to engage with the whole world. It's a global device. It is a device that connects you to the whole world, as I've told you. Very soon, your smartphone will be a passport. Yes, we are going there. We are going there. There will be no need of passport books. It will be your smartphone, because your smartphone will be connected to your identity, which will be on a computer database. So when you travel, the ticket is sent to you on the smartphone. You are cleared through the smartphone. There is no need of stamping. The stamps are going. They're going because of the smartphone system, the technological system we are in. And so just understand, some countries are still behind, but that's where we are going. You see, it's like, have you seen a race? Every race in the world has an end. Yes, even the Aquarian age will end. It will end and we enter a new age. So some people run the race very fast and then get there, and others run very slow. That's why I don't like the word racism, because it sounds like a certain race is ahead of others because of their that's what I question the word racism. Anyway, let's go on. We need to conclude. As a cultural movement, Renaissance encompassed innovative flowering of literature. So this is talk about languages and everything. So I didn't want us to read the whole article. You can read it on your own. I just wanted to show you that that is the power of Renaissance. And Renaissance literally means rebirth, revival. Rebirth and revival. And revival is a rebirth means being born again, being born again. So the Europe became born again they, during the Renaissance period. And this is a question we need to ask ourselves. Are there countries that have not been born again? Yeah, are there countries that have not experienced a rebirth? It could be, because Europe had now the importance of Europe is that Europe was in the Dark Ages. There's what you call the Dark Ages, and then the Middle Ages. And it's in the Middle Ages that the Renaissance happened. The Renaissance were part of. Why was it called the Dark Ages? Because majority of the people in Europe were ignorant. They even didn't know how to read or write. They didn't know how to read or write. Leave alone reading, writing. They even didn't know how to understand. Can you imagine? Masses in Europe before the Renaissance and the Reformation. You see how many REs are there? Reformation, Revolution, Renaissance, and then the Enlightenment period. Before all of those things, the humans were living in the Dark Ages. And it was so bad that someone would go for Mass and has heard nothing because it is in Latin. Absolutely. It was, in fact, they were just going to Mass for symbolic purposes, that they have gone to church. But linguistically, the human being does not know what has been said. If you stop the person and ask him, what did they preach about today? I don't know. All I know is I took the bread and the wine. You see, that was all church was. People were so ignorant. They never knew the Bible. Today, humans know the Bible so well. If they are dropped in that time, they would even make them popes. So, and then when the Reformation happened, which happened in the Renaissance period, everything changed. People were now having Mass in their languages. Many denominations were born. And because of many denominations, new interpretations were born of the Bible. New things came. And then new secret societies. Everything changed in the world because of the Renaissance. The rebirth. Meaning humans became, in Europe, became born. They were born again. Now, when Europe became born again, it now colonized most of the world with their new system, their Renaissance system, and they colonized Africa, they colonized Asia with that. So what am I trying to tell you? The non-European countries did not experience the Renaissance. And this is what could be the problem facing the third world, is that they have not yet become born again. They have not got a new spur of knowledge. The knowledge the African countries and some Asian countries have is Western. However, the Asian countries are doing very well with this system that was brought to them by the Europeans, because they were aggressive to succeed. They wanted to succeed. Everything it's all a matter of political will. Yes, if you don't have the political will to change, like what happened in Asia, nothing will happen. That's what I'm saying. There's no difference between Asia and Africa. It's that one region had a lot of political will. The leaders in the Asian tigers said, enough is enough. We are going to change our countries immediately. And this is how Malaysia came out of the third world. This is how China is now number 2 and almost being number 1 in the world. It's because of that political will of the people and the leaders. And for Africa, it's very hard because we are diverse. Asia is very homogeneous. You see, Asia doesn't have, they don't have diverse tribes like Africa. So because Africa has very much diversity, it's so hard. As you know, diversity is not as easy as you think. Diversity means diverse thinking patterns, diverse logic, diverse IQ, diverse. So, diverse blood, diverse, everything is diverse. So the challenge of a diverse system is you really have to find a system that can cover all of those people together. And that's where we are struggling in Africa. But in Asia, it's less diverse. Most Asian countries have only one race, Asians. In fact, it's only India that is diverse racially, because genetically there are very many genetic groups. There are African groups in India, there are white groups in India, and there are Asian groups in India. So that's why India, if to me, India is the best country in the world economically for one reason. They have managed to survive in their diversity. Yeah, China is not so diverse, so it is still having a test to go through. They need to have a very diverse country, and they don't want it, but they need it. And most of the Asian countries. So if a country, if Africa is to borrow a plan of development, they should borrow from India, because India is a diverse country genetically, maybe not racially, but genetically they are diverse, just like Africa. Because Africa even is the dominant race is black, but it doesn't mean we are uniformly one genetic group. We have different genetic groups, and that is what affects us. And linguistically, we have so many languages. 2/3 of the 6,000 languages of the world come from Africa. So just imagine the logical infrastructure of an African is so diverse like that. All right, so just know that the Renaissance was exported to the third world by the Europeans, and this is why we are now becoming technological, even though we didn't have our own Renaissance. Now, I have told you how to have, this video was about having a personal Renaissance. And a personal Renaissance means always make time to know new things. Always. Always take time to read new stuff. Always. Always take time to revisit old knowledge. And because every day you get new knowledge, when you come into contact with old knowledge, you will get a new idea. This is why I told you there are some people who can read the Bible for 30 years and still not get bored. It's because as they have gone on with time, they are getting new knowledge. However, I'm not saying read one book. Read as many things as you can. Listen to as many music styles as you can to enrich your knowledge base, to enrich what you know, to enrich your vocabulary, to enrich your thinking. Yes, because creativity comes when you expose yourself to new things. And creativity, and this is why even if you're a scientist, you should try listen to everything, read everything, study everything. That's why our theological channel allows all religions, because we are reading all religions for one reason. We will get a new concept about certain religion. Like today, I was thinking to myself about guilt. Do you know there are some religions that do not even know what guilt is? Yes, you come to Africa, they don't know what guilt is. They don't know, and others, that's where they live. They live in guilt forever. You're joking with the South American tribes. They did not even care. Bloodshed was normal. They used to play football with the heads of people, kicking the heads of the people they have sacrificed, the enemies they have killed. Remember in the Bible, David circumcised dead men and came with the 200 foreskins. And when he gave King Saul, Saul said, "You can now have my daughter." Can you imagine? So those primitive people of the past, they didn't care about bloodshed. It was so normal to them. Yes, think about it. These guys used to kill people. There is no one killing people like the way those guys used to do in the past. These days we have become more humane. So anyway, that's enough of my discussion there. I was just trying to show you how you should have a daily renaissance. Keep on reading, mixing, keep on watching what you watch, keep on listening to different sounds, look for the latest person, and not only the latest person, go back and listen to the old person. Just continue getting knowledge, continue receiving knowledge so that you can get new ideas. Because what I'm seeing, the world is going, we have new knowledge. It is too much. And it's getting better and better because of this new knowledge. And so we're very happy for that. Okay, guys, thank you for joining us.